I'm so thrilled that you agreed to chat to me and to tell your story today. I think it's going to be so important for other people to hear your experiences. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's just dive in. It was almost a year ago to the day that we first met. How different is your life now? Because you have been through some massive changes from a year ago today to now.
Well, I don't even know where to.
I know it's bumpy, but
yeah. Where to even I don't even know where to begin. Like it's ridiculous how much my life has changed, how different it is now. When I think back like 12 months ago, the first time we spoke, and the situation I was in and the mindset I was in, and just wow, like I barely even recognize, I can't even really relate anymore because it's just that much different. So obviously, like when I contacted you, I had been suffering with bulimia for, well, on and off for 10 years. So since I was 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old,
wow.
Kind of gone through my teenage years having an on and off relationship with food. I've always been like into my fitness and training. I used to do a lot of horse riding and stuff. So, but when it came to food, I just didn't really, I don't know, when you're in school, you have the popular girls and you've got your girls in the magazine, you're like, why can't I look like that? And it's just, you don't really understand. And then as I went further into my teenage years, obviously I unfortunately struggled with a bit of depression, and I kind of used bulimia, as we spoke about, as a little bit almost like a self-sabotage or self-harming technique. So when I contacted you, I had been struggling with this for 10 years and just thought it would just be part of my personality. And I was also right slap bang in the middle of a massive breakdown, and massively bulimic tendencies had come back up for me. And I think by the time I was contacting you, it was a daily occurrence, like binging and purging 3 times a day, 4 times a day. Every time I'd wake up in the day, I'd be like, right, today's the day, I'm not going to do it. And then it would just happen again. I couldn't seem to control what was going on in my head, and it was like an impulse, and it was horrific. It was definitely the worst time of my life, and it just consumes your every single thought, every single minute of every single day, and it's so tiring, and it's so hard on you as a person. Yeah. And to be fair, now, like fast forward 12 months, I just don't think about food. I mean, I think about food when I'm hungry. I'm like, what do I want to eat? And I just pick that, and like I haven't had a binge urge in a very long time. I can't even remember when it was. I know it was months ago anyway. And it's just such a change. Like if you free up so much headspace, like I'm now self-employed, and now I'm starting my own business, and I'm now studying different courses. Yeah. And I moved to a different country, and it's because I do genuinely believe, like, it's obviously there's a lot gone into that, but also because like the work we've done has freed up so much headspace that I'm not consumed by this horrible disease, really is what it is. And I'm not completely absorbed by complete lack of self-confidence and shame, and I'm not absorbed by all these feelings that go along with an eating disorder anymore. And it's magical, really. Like it's so different.
There's always better quality problems, and we'll talk about that, but I feel that, like that sense of it's just so much better to live without it than to, a lot of people say be careful, don't get too caught up in how amazing life's going to be, because of course it's not perfect, but boys, it's 100 times better. But your journey was, there was a lot of struggle in the first few months, and it's not like, I think we want to be clear with anybody who's watching, it wasn't an overnight success. You just suddenly got it and you were just racing with it. Yours was you were up against it, mindset, the environment you were in. How do you feel? What would you say was the sort of secret sauce that finally got you through that? Was there a breakthrough moment, or do you think it was a kind of drip feed of doing the work? What is it that, if you could put your finger on it to try and describe to somebody how to recover? How do you recover? How do you do it?
That's like a really good question, and it's a bit of both. Like it is. I think with anything in life that you want hard enough and that's worth it, you do have to get up and do the grind, and you do have to have the repetition, and you do have to do the stuff you really don't want to do. Like, I didn't wake up every day and be like, yes, today I'm going to be 1% more recovered and it's going to be amazing. No, I woke up and I was like, F this, I do not want to be here, do not want to do this, I'm going to be like this forever, and I don't care. I did have a lot of those moments, and like, it's really, really difficult to talk yourself out of those. And I think it's just about finding your self-respect again, like finding you again, and just really understanding that you are worth recovering, no matter what's going on in your head or what's going on around you, what people or you are saying to yourself. It's so important to respect and kind of love yourself enough to actually give yourself recovery. Because at the end of the day, and I think this is something that really came to me as well, is because like I struggled a lot with suicidal thoughts and suicidal ideation, and a couple of more or less attempts, and I don't remember specifically the breakthrough, but I do remember thinking to myself very strongly, this is my one life. And do I really want to spend it controlled by, for me, it was other people and food, right? And exercise. And do I really, really want to be controlled by anything in this one life that I have, that I can make anything out of it? I want to spend the next 60, 70, 80, 90 years like this. I really don't. Like, I really don't want to do that. I want to be able to do something amazing with my life. And I think that a massive step towards me recovering was realizing that this is my life, this is my body, this is my house, more so. And I want to make the most of it, and you really come to learn to, the more work you put in and the more little wins you have, the more you come to respect yourself. Like, wow, I just did that, and wow, I can do this next thing. And that's not me saying that every day is easy. I mean, we know every day is not easy, right? But it's just about the higher goal of, right, what means more to me right now? Giving into this one binge urge where these headworms are telling me that I'm this, that, and the other, and I just want comfort from food? Or does it mean more to me to sit with this for a second? And it's going to be hard and it's going to be uncomfortable, but if I sit with it for 5 minutes, I could be, 5 years down the line, I'm not going to have this issue anymore. Even less, 5 months, whatever it was. I mean, I was thinking in terms of years, because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to recover. Because I had been struggling with this for 10 years, I was like, okay, my goal was, in a few years' time, I'm not going to have this problem. And it's just so happened that luckily we're in a situation where it was months more so than anything else. And like, I'm not going to say that, once you're kind of in recovery, you're not going to trip up or whatever, but it's just been, for me, I feel so much more free of it now. That was a very long-winded answer. I'm sorry about that.
No, I loved it. Because what I heard there was, it takes lots of little wins. It takes doing what you know you need to do, even when your mindset's screaming at you that you're not worth it. And I think that's a really hard piece, because when your mindset's going, this is never going to work, I'm never going to make it, I'm not worth it, blah, 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 the headworms, to push through that, I don't even think it's possible you can't use your mind against your mind in those moments. You can try, you can do the headworm busting, and that was like a religious practice of yours. But when you're having that experience, you're feeling it. It's not just a thought, it is a feeling.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the thing that kept you going was just this dedication to doing it anyway. Like, I know this is all in my head, I feel it, it feels real for me, but I'm just going to get up and face the day, even though this feels awful. And there was a sense, almost like there was just a trust that if you could just do that, then eventually it would pay off. And it was lots of tiny little incremental wins. Yeah. The 5 minutes of getting through that discomfort. We tend to think, I've got to get through the whole day. And you were like, I've just got to do 5 minutes. Then I'll worry about the next 5. Yeah. I think that's huge, because people get this, I guess from the movies or something, there's always this sense that there's magical transformational moment. And I think for you it was, and that's why being your coach was just such an honor, because you just kept doing the work, even when everything was screaming at you, it's not worth it, it's not worth it, this is never going to work. And for me, there was a moment where I felt you'd had a kind of a breakthrough, and I'm going to use this word in terms of all the work suddenly made a big shift, and we see that as well. And it's something that I've stolen completely, and I use with my clients to this day. It's this idea that once you've had enough practice of getting through binge urges, you can tell what one is, you know what your tummy, you know. And you said to me, I kind of got to this point where if I can feel I'm not hungry, but I'm wanting to eat, then I just say, well, food's not the problem, so what's the problem? And I, as I say, I've stolen that. I put it in my courses and everything. It's just so simple. And once you get to that point where you can make those distinctions and you get it, that this isn't about food, you suddenly made this massive shift where you were now working on the real problems.
Yes, 100%.
And that was just this, that felt like there were still blips and slip ups and bad days, but you got it now, that you were like, screw this, I've got to attack the foundational things. And it's never just one thing, is it? There's like a multitude of whack-a-mole.
Literally whack-a-mole, yeah.
But incrementally over the time, that brought you to a place of starting to take action and move in a totally new direction. As you say, you've moved country, you've started your own little business, you know, it's just incredible. Tell us a bit about what you're doing, if you will. I think this is really exciting. We spoke about this the other day.
Yeah, so at the moment, so I just got qualified a while ago as a personal trainer. Which is something I wanted to do quite for a long time, but I never really had the confidence, really, I suppose. You know, you think about personal training, you're like, oh, it's a market full of people, like, who would want to train with me, and all your head going all the way. But I kind of got to the point, and I was working with you. I remember discussing it with you, where I was like, I want to do this thing, and you were just like, just do it. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. And so I went and did my course, and now I've moved from Ireland to the UK, and I am working in a gym. I actually got a job as a duty manager in a gym. But alongside that, I am I'm in the very early stages, but I am starting up my own coaching business. So we'll be doing online and face-to-face clients in the gym I work at. And I want to bring something different to it, because I think I have a lot of opinions on the fitness industry. I think we both do. But I think that there is still a little bit of wiggle room there for someone who is coaching from a place of compassion and coaching from a place of, I'm not just going to address your body, I'm going to address your mind, because we all say healthy mind, healthy body, and vice versa, but no one actually actions that.
Nobody coaches from that. Not nobody, but it's very rare that you find coaches, physical trainers. Give you that kind of.
Because I think, I'm not trying to talk down about any other PTs, please don't get me wrong here, and the ones I work with are incredibly good, and do something similar, and I really think there is a bit more space, specifically trying to coach some confidence into people. And because I think part of the turning point for me was actually gaining a bit of confidence, confidence around food, confidence to be in my own skin, confidence to walk into the gym, confidence to walk up the street in my own, in whatever mood I was in, and just shoulders back, chin up, and just be me. And I think that really helped me along the path to recovery as well. So I'd love to be able to help instill that in other people. And obviously, because you're a PT, you're looking to hit fitness goals along the way, which is really important for me as well. But I do think that there is a bit of room in the industry for someone who is really working from the top down, mindset onto other things. So that's what I'm really about, and hopefully in a couple of years maybe we'll have a proper business out of it. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
You know me, I think you're gonna have a proper business much sooner than that. And in fact, I reckon there'll be people watching this thinking, I want her as my personal trainer. So if there is somebody thinking that, how could they? Because I think the thing that you're going to bring unique to the market is having such a clear experience of what it is to feel awful in your body, for what it is to, there are going to be people watching this looking at you going, she's the most, gorgeous, amazing. How could you possibly have self-doubt? But you were drowning in it. And I think when you've got that experience and knowing what it takes to slowly build self-confidence, it's not something that's like happiness, not there every day. When you get out and do the work. They would probably, the opening for you to come into that space of personal training, because we both love exercise. I used to be a CrossFit coach, and we know the value of it for health and mental and all the rest. But the intentionality is everything. And what I'm hearing is you're saying, hey, we can pair great intention, compassion, confidence with this thing that makes you feel amazing, it's good for your body. And you've got this ability now to bring to the space an understanding of somebody who might be standing in front of you, who has been, racked with the same feelings of self-doubt, self-loathing, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, blah, 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 blah. And you get to now help them through the personal training, actually build that into their life in I'm sure, subtle or not so subtle, depending on how you're going to work.
When am I ever subtle?
Yeah. But you're never going to be the trainer that says, right, I want you on this nutrition plan and I want you to on calorie deficit and all that, right? So if somebody said to you, Aoife, I don't know what to do around food. I can't tell if I'm hungry, full, other than the red flags are going off. Like, this is somebody who's obviously struggling. Please just just tell me what to eat. Please give me a diet. I don't want to have to think about it. What would you say?
I'd say you're going to hate me for this, but I'm going to change your life here today. Yeah, I think that is such an important thing, because I've done that in the past, right? I think we all have. We don't know what to do, so we think the answer is like this rigid plan.
Yeah.
And I believe in the short term, yes, that is a fix. You put someone on a meal plan, they don't have to think about their food, they're just doing what they want. But for not that long down the line, 3-4 weeks down the line, when that rigidity starts to create that horrible toxic mindset of I have to do this or else I'm bad, what then happens? Because we see a lot with binging, especially with binging as an eating disorder and then leading on to bulimia, we see a lot of it is we see a lot of toxic mindset around food. So good foods, bad foods, and we see a lot of it in their body image and stuff like that. So we see a lot of insecurity and a lot of rigidity and, kind of this anxiety around sticking to a plan. So often if someone comes to you with that kind of rigid mindset, they're already right down the road of disordered eating, and you really need to try and pull them back from it. So I would explain, I would probably take an hour and sit down with them and just be like, look, this is how I work. So the thing is, I could put you on a meal plan. I could do that. I'm not qualified to do that, but I could do that because, you've asked for it, but I'm not going to. And here's why. If we look at short-term fixes, we're going to end up repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. You're going to be extremely unhappy in yourself, in your body, in your relationship with food. And that's not going to be good for anyone. What we need to do is we need to get down to the root of the problem. So your anxiety around food is not an anxiety around food, and we need to figure out what the stem is there. So it's like we spoke about, food isn't actually the problem. We're using food as a crutch. So some people use drugs, some people use alcohol, lots of people choose to use food and they don't realize it, right? So I would say to them, like, look, I'm not a counselor or anything like that, but we need to look at what's happening in your life, what's stressing you out, what's causing this. And it could be as simple as I have really bad body image, and we can work on that. But there could be something else. You always find, like 95% of the time, you find work's really stressing me out, partner's really stressing me out, my kids are stressing me out, I'm in financial distress, and that's what's causing the problem. And as hard as it is to have those stresses and work on your own self, it's really important, and a food plan is just never going to fix that level of stress and anxiety. It's just not. It's going to make it worse. It's going to make it far worse. And it's just about prioritizing and trying to fit in little moments of mindful kind of reflection on how you're feeling and why you feel the need to reach for that crutch, reach for that kind of tactic.
When it's beyond hunger.
Yes, exactly. And of course, like, I would provide nutritional advice, like this is what I would do to make sure I'm eating a balanced and healthy meal that's good for my body. I want to fuel my body for exercise. But other than that, I am not, I could not. I would be betraying my own morals if I ever wrote a food plan. I could not do it without feeling physically nauseous. I couldn't. I really couldn't.
Wonderful. Yeah, because the thing is, I think this is mostly true, and obviously it's not for everybody, but generally, if somebody's reaching out to a personal trainer, somebody like us, the kind of women that we are or were, body image issues, probably have a good, decent body, but just in chaos. Legitimately enjoy healthy food and exercise, but in chaos. And if somebody like that reaches out to you, they've got a good body, they can still do personal training or whatever, but now they're begging for a food plan. This is not somebody who doesn't know what is healthy and what is unhealthy. This is somebody who knows the difference.
Yes.
They're just feeling they can't trust
Yes.
themselves. And I love you just went straight to, your own breakthrough. Food's not the problem. What's the problem? If you're not feeding yourself, then you need to feed yourself. But once you're well fed and you can feel, then what's going on here? And you're right. Oftentimes it will just be, I hate my body, and I just want to be thinner so that I can be more attractive. We kind of feel foolish to say things like that, but that's the world we live in. And a lot of people are embarrassed to say, they'll say, oh, it's a bit shallow, but I just want to be attractive. And I'm like, it's not shallow at all. We're human beings.
It's normal. Yeah, it's normal.
So how would you, and maybe you're still in process with this. I mean, I think we all are. It's a difficult world out there. But how would you start to help somebody who just really, they had a good body, you could see it, they're very attractive, but they didn't see it yet. How, and maybe you haven't thought about this, but from your experience, what kind of things might you do to help somebody feeling that way?
Firstly, hello, friend. It's me, another person.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. That's brilliant. Oh,
that's something I struggled with my entire life. I had terrible body image, and a lot of it was deeper stemmed, if you get me. So a lot of it was, I hated some aspects, not hated, but I really didn't like a lot of aspects of me or my personality or my thought process. And I didn't understand that. So I kind of used body image to hate on those without understanding what was actually happening. What I found is as I kind of dealt with those issues, I still had a little bit of a remaining issue with my body. And only in the past only in the past year has that really changed. And the only thing, you're going to think this is a really strange way of dealing with the issue, right? Because oftentimes with body image, we think about how we look in terms of other people, how other people looking at us.
Yeah.
No one cares what you look like.
I feel like that needs to be written out big, like on a t-shirt. Like, nobody cares.
No one cares.
No one cares.
And when you stop thinking about how you look in terms of what other people think, it's actually so freeing. Because people who know me now, who wouldn't have known me before, think of me as the most confident and secure person you ever meet. Because I pass mirror, I'm like, hello, look good today or whatever. I would never have done that before. And it's just literally because I don't care what anyone else thinks. Yeah. If someone looks at me twice, I'm like, hi, I mean, they're either, at the end of the day, I don't know why that person's looking at me. They could be thinking I'm attractive. They could be thinking I'm really not attractive. They could be like, why has she got toilet paper stuck to her shoe? And once I've checked that, I'm okay, Like, so it's really a case of, do I really care what that person thinks? No, I really don't care what any of these people think. At the end of the day, like I said earlier, you've got this one life, and external things, people, food, job, etc., shouldn't be controlling your one life. And if I'm going to spend my whole life worrying about what people think I look like in a bikini, in shorts, it's 30 degrees outside, I don't care, I'm going to wear it. I actually do not care. And you come to think then, you come to kind of not, I mean, it's a longer process, but you do come to see things then that you like about yourself. And you're like, oh, I like the way my hair looks today, or I like the way my shoulders are really toning up at the minute because I'm working out in the gym a lot and all of this. And as you kind of pass mirrors, because a big thing was for me when I was younger is I couldn't look in mirrors. I just, whenever I went shopping, I was head down, wouldn't go to changing rooms. I tried on a home and, but now when you pass mirrors and stuff, you kind of pick out, oh yeah, I like the way this top looks. I mean, the color suits me and all this. And then
I can't believe it's the same person I met a year ago.
I know, right? It's been a lot of work. Yeah.
But that's probably the most joyful thing, wasn't it? That beginning to let go of the story about who you thought you were and actually embrace who you really are instead of trying to change it. We spoke a lot about this because we're very similar in this place. Feeling maybe we didn't quite fit in, we weren't the right type of woman, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And really just saying, fuck it. It's a big enough world out there. They don't all have to love me, but if I can appreciate this and just really own it, chances are there's going to be plenty of men or plenty of whatever who will just think I'm the bee's knees. And for the rest of them, if they don't like me so much, so be it. And that's a hard place to come to when you've lived from a mindset of, unless I am this perfect body in this and that's what the world's pushing on us all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard to just go, I get it that I'm not, and actually I'm going to fall in love with this, who I really am. You know, for me, it's the deep voice, the short hair, the masculine, whatever it is, the CrossFit. For somebody, it'll be something else. But just saying, I actually kind of love that about myself. I've just never allowed myself to believe that others would love it too. And then you slowly move into, and you get lots of resistance, don't you? The headworms keep coming at you that you're not good enough and you're not pretty enough, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
But I can hear you started to change the relationship with your reflection. And I did exactly the same thing. We've never spoken about that, but that thing of looking in the mirror and you're now like, oh, look at my shoulders.
Yeah. We haven't. No, we haven't. Like, I'm one of those people that everyone hates in the gym, because I will stand there in the mirror and I will flex and I will take pictures, and I'm like, I don't care what you think, to be honest. I just think I'm amazing. So you know.
We know.
And I mean, you don't want to be it's not that I wouldn't call myself narcissistic either. Like, it's just
vain or arrogant.
No, and I don't talk, like, I don't tend to like talk about tell people, oh my god, you know, I don't tend to do that. It's just that when you come from a place where you've been so hard on yourself for so long, and then suddenly you're not, you really want to enjoy it, right? You really want to enjoy the fact that you feel so comfortable in your own skin, because I tell you what, like, it doesn't matter what kind of dress size you are, feeling comfortable in your own skin is the most amazing feeling. Like, when that fits you properly, everything else just fades away a little bit. You just feel so much better in yourself, you know? Yeah,
when you're wearing the clothes you enjoy, and you've got the haircut you enjoy, and you're in a body that you enjoy, and it feels good on you. And that's really what, when people think of recovery, they often think, oh, they've kind of got to give up what they want for and just be like settling with themselves. And I think what I'm hearing from you is somebody who's gone, not only did I not have to give up some, I mean, we both in this journey gave up the hope that we would be the model or whatever it is, you know, if everybody's got their own thing. But then we found a deep appreciation of who we were and realized that actually what we had was pretty damn awesome. So when you go into recovery, it's not about saying, oh, well, I'm just going to have to settle for a fat body that I don't even like. It's actually about saying, I'm going to find my best body. We both keep fit, we look after ourselves, we eat well, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to find my best body. I'm going to have some fun from time to time, indulge. But I'm going to love living in this. And then I'm going to clothe it the way I love and dress it up the way I love and use it the way I love. And that creates a whole different level where you're not only not having to give anything up, but you're actually finding and enjoying something that you had all along. You just didn't realize it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people will have weight to lose. And I mean, that's why they go to wonderful personal trainers like you're going to become, because you're going to be focusing on them accessing that feeling and guiding their body back to that. Not doing it out of self-flagellation, I'm not good enough, but I'm finding who I truly am, and their body will find that place. And when you're there, you know it because it feels good.
Yes.
You feel good in your own skin. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's just such a nice, this last bit of this conversation about that it's just brings so much joy, because that feels like the next level. There's recovery where it's just kind of okay and you're getting through. And then there's recovery where there's like this world opening up to you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God. And you're so young because you've got so much time to go through this and explore it and keep taking it to the next level. Mm-hmm. So we always talk about better quality problems. There's always better quality problems out there. What are you working on now? What is your work? If you wish, I mean, there's no need if it's too personal, but where are you now where you're thinking, that's what I want to improve. This is what I want to get better at?
Yeah, there are a couple of things. Like, I'm the type of person as well that whenever I deal with a problem, like, where's the next one? You know, I love having challenges. So, I mean, there's a couple, like, obviously with starting a business at the moment, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot of skills to learn. So, like, I've had to learn about, you know, marketing, advertising. I've had to, and this has been a really interesting one for me as well lately, is like, obviously with personal training, a large part of our clientele, especially with online coaching, comes from social media. So I've had to like decide who I want to be, like, what am I marketing to the world? And like, I've tried on a few different things, and I seem to be coming back around to just this thing of just being me. online. And because it is one thing, because you think of yourself as a business and you're like, maybe I should conduct myself in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I've tried a few different styles of posting and talking to people now, and I just find the one that gets the best response is literally just me being my annoying, over the top, dramatic, outspoken, opinionated self. And actually people seem to be really buzzing off it. So that's been a really good journey for me as well, because it just shows to me that even in a professional aspect, I can conduct myself as I am. And it's been, what's been amazing as well is like part of having no self-confidence and stuff is that you're afraid to have an opinion, You're always afraid, and even if you do have an opinion, you're afraid to speak it, and you're afraid of what people will think. And it's been really nice to come around to this journey of like, actually, when I speak my opinion, yeah, some people don't like it, but some people really do like it. And, I often get messages of like, I love the fact that you're out so outspoken about XYZ, and you really are, you've inspired me to do XYZ. So that's really nice. That's been a really good journey and really good something to work on, and it's something I have to continue to work on. Whether it feels authentic to me or not.
Love that.
So that's like in a professional aspect. And I suppose personally, with work to be done still for me in my head, remembering to be, I'm a very grateful person, and I try to take moments to have grateful moments. And I also want to try and work on a little bit of having moments of a bit of quiet, because I think that it's so easy to get caught up in the rush, especially when you're starting a business and you've done all this stuff. You really have to learn to take time out to be quiet and just be grateful and just think about, maybe, you can meditate if it's not really, you can do whatever you want with that time. Sometimes I'll just sit there and have a cup of tea and just stare into space and just think, or play music or whatever, but it's just important to have that time. And I think as well, for me, we've spoken about this a lot in the past as well. I've done so much work on myself, and now I need to learn how to integrate it into my relationships with other people as well. Which is something that I have seen a lot of improvement on, to be honest. I have had to be very aware of it. When I say relationships, I mean friendships, other relationships, family, all of it. And it's something I've had to bring into my awareness quite a bit. Like, this is who I am, these are my boundaries, and this is how I conduct myself. So if you can fit into this life of mine, or you cannot, but we need to sort that out, so it's for me, relationships are scary. We know this, we've spoken about this. And sometimes they can be a little bit of it, for want of a better word, I don't like the word trigger, but they can be a little bit of a trigger for me of like, you see, the thing is, when you're recovering and such, it can be quite, not a selfish process, but you have to take a lot of time to yourself.
You're right.
And now that I'm
selfish in the best sense.
Yes. And now that I'm coming out of recovery and might necessarily have time for like other people or another person in my life, I find it terrifying, because I'm like, this is new, right? It's exciting because it's new and it's a challenge, but it's also very scary. And you're kind of, because I'm quite used to being vulnerable now, but being so openly vulnerable with another person, to me, is still something I have to work on. Like, I don't tend to care what other people think, but that can also lend itself in sort of a bad way, because obviously if you're having someone in your life that it might be a partner or something like that, you have to care a little bit what they think.
Of course.
It's about finding that balance, right? So I suppose that's from a professional and personal point of view what I'm kind of trying to work on at the moment.
That is a wonderful, better quality problem to have.
Yes,
and I love that you've noticed that it's something that you need to work on. We tend to think of relationships as things that we're just supposed to be able to do, like eating. Well, you're just supposed to be but we've lost it, and like anything, being good at relationships is a skill. And the first thing you said is, I've had to put my awareness on it. And that's exactly the first thing you have to do. Because a lot of people think, well, I'm going to do differently today, but then they change nothing. And what you're saying is, I have to put my awareness on it, and now I'm testing it. And it's going to be like recovery. It doesn't always work out. There's when it maybe triggers me into like the feeling of I'm not good enough, or where the wall comes down and screw you and I don't care anyway. So there was interesting about the I don't care, but you do need to care a little bit. I agree. I think what you said about loving yourself a bit more was about recognizing that the judgments of other people that you barely know just doesn't matter. And they're probably
not your problem.
But when it comes to the people you love and you want to be in a relationship with, whether it's friendship or romantic or otherwise, there is a necessity for care. But when it comes from a place of love, because they're the people you love, you want to find that thing that works for both of you. And you're now in this wonderful better quality problem space of learning to be good at relationships. And that's another huge topic. But like anything, you put effort in, you make incremental progress, you learn from your mistakes, and you try again. You don't just expect that we're just supposed to know how to do it, you know? And I love that. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a funny one, because it's just, I think it's just with the society we live in, especially at the moment, it's so not unnatural, but it's so far removed from what we used to be as people, like with social media, with people around us all the time, with convenience. Like, you're so expected to just have these things down because you know there's other things to do. And I think people can skip over them a lot. And you see a lot of this with, like, say, you know, people who maybe are in their 40s or 50s and are coming around to realizing that, oh, crap, I don't have these things down. I'm only just realizing now. So I think I am so lucky and so grateful that I understand that about myself at this age. And it's something that I can only improve upon. And hopefully, you know, I really do believe it will lend itself to me throughout my life. This being able to be aware of not issues I have, but when something feels a little bit uncomfortable to me, I pick it up very quickly. And I'm able to take it and work on it and understand and see why that is.
Instead of beating yourself up about you being the problem.
Because no, I'm the problem. No, I'm not necessarily the problem. I mean, it's my responsibility to find out how to fit it, how to work on it and fit into this world better. Because at the end of the day, I think this is a really important point as well. And this is, people hate when I say this, but it's true. The world is the way the world is, right? You're never going to change the world for you or for a group of people, but you can make your life a little bit more comfortable by understanding about what works for you in this mad world of ours. And I'm not trying to say that you should stay in an uncomfortable or horrible situation, because I moved country. I didn't stay in a situation that wasn't suiting me. But what I mean is, you have to figure out how you want to be in this world so that's to best enjoy it and get the most out of it. So you're never going to change it, and at the end of the day, you shouldn't expect everything else to change around you just because you're struggling. I don't mean to diminish what people are going through, but at the end of the day, making yourself a victim is never the solution. Making yourself take ownership of what's happening and understanding how you can best work on it to find a comfortable place in the world and in your own body, that is the real goals. Like that was one of the first things that properly changed my life, is understanding that I read this quote, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. And that changed everything for me, because as hard as it is, if you look at everything that happens to you, like in your life, from that, you will never go wrong, because you will always feel that you will never regret anything you do, and you will always be moving forward, and you will always feel like you have control. And a lot of people with eating disorders, myself included, felt very out of control. So feeling as though I could take that control was massive as well. So that's a controversial statement, you know, that was all a bit controversial, but that's what I genuinely believe as well, is you have to be compassionate with yourself, but compassion includes knowing when to push yourself a little bit, and knowing when you need to maybe look at something you're thinking or saying or doing because it's not serving you anymore. And I think that's really important as well.
I feel like I don't want to say another word, because that was so beautifully said. You basically summarized the essence and the requirement of recovery. Taking responsibility for your mindset, your actions, learning, being compassionate when it's necessary, pushing when you need to. It's a balance, but you summed it up. And that quote, I don't know who said it, but it's something about your addiction or whatever, your trauma. It's your trauma.
Your trauma, that's it. Yes.
But your recovery is your responsibility.
That's exactly it.
Just put the word bulimia in there, or binge eating, or whatever it is. And that is so true, because once you claim the freedom of choice, and that's what the learning is, isn't it? It's about learning to be able to make good choices of thoughts and actions. And you learn through a lot of trial and error. But once you can do that, you can never say again, my life is out of my control.
Yes.
We are at the mercy of certain things. But what you said was so beautiful is we can't really change that, but we can always change this, and we have to. We can't stay in the victim, and it's the world's against, like, well, that sucked, that happened, and I'm going to take responsibility now and bring everything I've learned going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, that quote, it was a game changer for me when I first heard it. It was, I heard it when I was studying addiction recovery, and I just thought, bam, nailed
That's
it.
powerful.
Because we've got to let go of the trauma that we feel responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to take control of everything going forward. And it's not that you just do it overnight. And I think that's the piece that's the why we have coaches and why we have personal trainers. It's like, I want that, but I need a bit of help getting me into that place where it becomes easier and more normal for me to do those things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. 100%. So if somebody's listening to this now or in the future, and they are like, I want this woman to train me, how can they find you? Where are you on social media? How can they get hold of you?
Yeah, so my business name is Fee Fitness, because my nickname, my dad calls me Fee, so I took that and ran with it.
Cool. So how do you spell Fee? F-I Fitness.
So you'll find me on Facebook with Fee Fitness.
Right.
And then on Instagram, it's a bit more complicated. It's Fee_Fitness_PT.
Great. I'll put that in the comments wherever this video is. I'll make sure that's out there for everybody.
Cheers, thank you.
Aoife, thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate you. It's been an absolute honor being your coach, and I know we're still working together, but luckily now we get to have better quality work to do, which
better quality problems. That's it. Yeah.
But it's been a real honor, and girl, you pushed through some unbelievably hard times, and you can really, that deep breath says it all. You can really breathe in the pride of the work that you've done and where it's got you, because it was not easy and for a long time. So I really appreciate you and your story, and thank you for sharing it for everybody. And I just want to wish you, my God, all the best and every joy that life has to offer. It's going to have ups and downs, but I'm so glad you're going to be here with us for the ups. And thank you for sharing that part of your story as well. I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people, as I know, we share that in common. So I think it's a lot more common that people have really down moments.
I think so.
To really make that, not say it what it is. It's a lot more common than I think we realize. And I just want people to feel that sense of hope that if you could come from that place just, a year or so ago to where you are now, that wherever they are, they can come through it too. And it feels like it'll never happen, but with the daily work that you put in, you get there, I bet I'm sure a year ago you couldn't have imagined.
No, I think I said this to you in the past few weeks at some stage. I said, I was thinking in terms of years, and if you could have told me, what are we now, August? So this August, 12 months ago, I did not want to be on this planet and was doing my very best to get off it. If you told me that in 12 months, I'd be here right now speaking to you about this, knowing that other people are going to see it, in the situation of having a business and doing well. I said, what are you sniffing? Like, what are you doing? Are you drunk? No, definitely.
That's wonderful. Well, as I say, wishing you all the best, and thank you so much.
That's not a problem, anytime. And thank you so much for everything over the past 12 months. Like, hello, you've been a massive, it's not just me here. I have had help. So,
it's moments like this that make what I do so worthwhile. And, there's hard days, it's difficult, but we get to both leave a legacy now that we wouldn't have been able to struggling in the disorder. So I think that's a very natural next step for so many people, is they find a place where they want to take what they've learned and grow and give back a little bit. And everybody will do it in different ways. But I think that's, the 12th step of the AA system is paying it back or paying it forward, whichever way you look at it. And I just think when people get there naturally, as you have, and now you're like, you want to work with people more compassionately, it's, that's where it's at. That's when the recovery's happen and you're really much in the space of freedom, because you can't really be in recovery and trying to help. It's really about stepping into that new space and then going, oh, I want to take this and I want to pay back. And it's a very natural thing that happens, and everybody finds a different way. So, you know, there's some gifts to these awful things that we go through, and once you're there, you just want to have everybody else experience them as well. So I think you're going to be an amazing personal trainer. I can't wait to chat to you in 5 years time and look back at this and see where you've come. I think your life's just going to go from strength to strength. So there's a lot of seize the day out there for you. I can feel it.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Brilliant, Aoife. Well, thanks so much for that. And we'll be in touch soon.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Thank you.